भविष्य बना सकूं, दे मुझे स्वर भारती। मदद कीजिए भावना, तुझे के दुख को मिटा सकूं। मदद कीजिए भावना, तुझे के दुख को मिटा सकूं। दे विधाता ज्ञान वह भारत भविष्य बना सकूं, दे मुझे स्वर भारती। जो भी शिक्षित हो यहाँ वह नेक एक इंसान हो। जो भी शिक्षित हो यहाँ वह नेक एक इंसान हो। भेदभाव न उपजे मन में, सबको मैं अपना सकूं। मैं बनूं इंसान अच्छा, जग में कीर्ति कमा सकूं। मैं बनूं इंसान अच्छा, जग में कीर्ति कमा सकूं। भारत भविष्य बना सकूं, भारत भविष्य बना सकूं।
समाज के लिए उठे उठे, जगे स्वराष्ट्र के लिए जगे जगे। स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे। हम उठे उठे गजब हमारे संग साथियों, बढ़े तो सब बढ़ेंगे अपने आप साथियों। जमीन पे आसमान को उतार दे, जमीन पे आसमान को उतार दे। स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे, स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे।
को दूर कर
की शान ओढ़ती रहे धरा।
तरक्कियों की एक नई कतार दे,
तरक्कियों की एक नई कतार दे।
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे,
सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे।
ये जाति धर्म बोलियां बने न शूल राह की, बढ़ाए बेल प्रेम की अखंडता की चाह की।
सद्भावना से ये चमन निखार दे,
सद्भावना से ये चमन निखार दे।
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे,
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे।
उठे समाज के लिए उठे उठे, जगे स्वराष्ट्र के लिए जगे जगे। स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे,
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे।
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे,
स्वयं सजे वसुंधरा सवार दे।
Thank you everyone. Before we begin, I would like to read out the rules once. Participants are requested to keep the video off and audio on mute. Please do not present the screen during the webinar. If you have any question during the webinar, please type them in a chat box. We have set time aside for questions towards the end of webinar. Without further delay, our volunteer Vasu Kansagra will introduce our speaker for today, Associate Professor Mrs. Nita Dhote. Over to you, Vasu.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Mrs. Nita Dhote is an associate professor and senior most in the Department of English at Nagendas Khandwala College, Autonomous, Malad, Mumbai. Convent educated, she is a merit ranker in the HSC exam. She stood ninth in the merit list of MSB SHSC. At the outset of her career, she worked as a teacher of English in the prominent junior college in the suburban for 3 decades. After that, she has worked at Nagendas Khandwala College. In 2009, she received a travel grant for lecturer of English from Danida and DCCD, both of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Denmark. As a contact teacher, she lectured the Indian short story as a form of lecturer in several educational institutions across Denmark. She also gave a lecture on the history of the Indian short story for Danish teacher of English. She was on the editorial board of NK College for 19 years and also worked on almost all the mandatory committees and associations. She is quite regularly selected to be the VC nominee for CAS and selection interviews. She is also on the BOS of Narsimhanji College, Hinduja College, and Nagendas Khandwala College. She is fond of Indian classical music, traveling, and reading. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Vasu. Yes, Professor Sonar, you wanted to say something.
Welcome, ma'am. Welcome. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. At the outset, I would like to thank the dignitaries of Nagendas Principal, Professor Dr. Maushmi Datta, then our Vice Principal, Dr. Mona Mehta, then of course the Director of the University Cell, Professor Sushil Shinde, our Area Coordinator and our Program Officer, Dr. Vivek Chaube, our other Program Officer, Dr. Vaishali Ghodeshwar, then my department colleague, my department colleague, Professor Sonar, who is the convener of this program, and Professor Edwin Matthias, and of course the other invitee program officers from of NSS from other colleges, and of course the NSS volunteers of our college and the invitee colleges. Okay, I'm glad to be here. It's now a yearly sojourn for us, I would say, for our department. And it's an honor for our department, I would say, to be associated with this program or with this event. Thanks to Professor Sonar, whose brainchild this was. And, he's really worked very hard in making this a reality. From an initial, small arena, like we spread our wings. Initially, it was a local event. It was only for our college. And now we've spread our wings, to collaborate with the university's NSS cell. And that's a real honor and a privilege. Thank you so much, Professor Sonar, for giving us that opportunity and making this possible. Now, shall I begin? I'll screen share with you all. Okay.
Yes,
I'll switch off my video little. I'll at the beginning, and then I'll screen share just a minute. And then if I can, I'll go back on camera. 1 minute. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. Now, see, grammar has always been,
Yes, ma'am.
a tough subject. Grammar has always been very difficult right through school. This is something we were always taught. And I must say here, there is no difference between whether you are a vernacular medium student or whether you've been in an English medium student. Grammar has always been something that was very difficult, isn't it? It's never been very easy. So to make it a little more easy for everyone, let's begin. I welcome you all, on this journey of what grammar can be and to learn to fall in love with it. Now, what is grammar? Okay, let's first try and understand what it is. Let's see and understand the definition. Grammar is a set of rules for forming the words and arranging those words in a sentence in the correct order to convey the complete and correct meaning. So in other words, you could say that grammar is the nitty-gritty or the foundation on the basis of which language is formed. The way in which we construct our sentences and the way we speak them. That construction is, governed by a set of rules, and that is grammar. Is this clear? Yes, are you following what I'm saying? Please make it interactive. Or please talk to me because otherwise I can't see you. See, when we think of grammar, what all do we think of? See, grammar brings so many things to mind. Okay, it brings first and foremost, of course, communication. Then as, of course, rules, it's language itself, speech, idioms. We think of the dictionary when, we want to look up a word or an adjective or a noun in grammar. Then when we want to understand something, we again go to the dictionary. Then we think of prepositions. Grammar is there to educate us. We have grammar books which help us to understand what is grammar better. And of course, the syntax. Now, why do we have this fear of grammar? Why are we always afraid of grammar? See, look at this picture here. I think it's very important because it says, I'm silently correcting your grammar. You feel, isn't it, when you speak to someone whose English is better than ours, that, that person is constantly observing you. Okay, and the person is silently correcting you. So therefore, you see, we have this fear of failure. We also have a fear of making mistakes or committing what is called grammatical errors. Grammatical errors are what? Are errors that we make in our sentence structure. Then we have a fear of being misunderstood. Because you see, if we miscommunicate, if we end up using grammar wrongly, or we end up saying sentences wrongly, there is a fear of us being misunderstood. Again, there's always an anxiety with oral communication. Not many of us, you see, are used to public speaking. And so again, that makes us afraid. Also, the fear of being judged or being ridiculed. We feel that people are going to, form opinions about us on the basis of our grammatical, the use of grammar. And that is another reason why we are afraid. Now, how do we tackle the situation? See, if there is a problem, there is always a solution, isn't it? So first and foremost, identify your exact fear. Find out what exactly it is in grammar that one is afraid of. Then practice to listen in the alien language. See, today, because of private television channels, we have so many Instagram, the mass media. Because of that, we have so many opportunities to listen to this language. Otherwise, you see, when we were students, okay, I'm talking about like 40 years back, we only knew that, there's something called Australian English, or there's Canadian English, or there is, American English, but we never knew what it is or what were the differences. Today, you see, you click a button and you're able to know, you're able to hear and know the differences between these various tongues. I mean, the various nuances or various branches, you could say, of English. Then you let go of the need for perfection. See, we are all afraid of making mistakes. We all want to be perfect. So, you should learn to let go of the need for perfection. So you'll find even today, okay, as I'm talking to you, I may be making spelling error. I mean, I may be making, grammatical errors. It's okay. It's all right. Then control the speed of the conversation. Speak slowly. Yes, though I know I speak rapidly. Again, here I know I'm time bound. I have to finish by 6:30. So you see, controlling my speed may be a little difficult. Again, when we are learning grammar, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions to the person who said something. You didn't understand a phrase, you didn't understand a sentence. Please ask questions. Ask the person to repeat or ask for the meaning. Again, smile. When you're afraid, one tends to feel jittery and anxious. So put a nice smile on your face. That will help you to overcome your fear. Then practice basic and everyday conversations. Small little conversations that we have, with our neighbors, our friends, or even with, our siblings. Learn to say those in English. Even like asking for a glass of water or something. Instead of saying it in your mother tongue, say it in English. Slowly then you'll understand the structure of the sentences and learn to overcome your fear. Then don't be discouraged when a conversation doesn't go well. When you feel, oh God, I had to go and speak to my teacher about a project that I had to take from her. And, I don't think I spoke very well. I think I made grammatical errors. I did try to speak in English, but it's okay. See, it's only when one makes mistakes that we learn from our mistakes and move on, isn't it? And the last one, visit places where the language is spoken as often as you can. Of course, it's not always possible for us to say, we want to visit the UK or the US or Australia or whatever. But see, nowadays, increasingly, I find many of our students going abroad for higher education. Many of our commerce students coming forward and asking us for LORs. So that means, you see, they are visiting places where the language is being spoken. Maybe, you can take one small little tour or something, in the summer holidays, maybe next year or something. Just go see the place and come. Okay. Now, again, when it comes to grammar, proofread your spelling, your grammar, and your accuracy. Okay. These are things we should focus on. Now, there are 11 rules of grammar according to one slide or according to one source. It asks us to use active voice. It asks us to link ideas with a conjunction or a connective. Use a comma to connect two ideas as one. Then use a serial comma in a list. Serial comma is, after the and, after the conjunction, it asks, before the conjunction, it asks us to put a comma. Now, some, approve of it, others don't approve of it. Now, there's a slight difference between Harvard and Oxford comma. Now, I mean, it's all right, they can have their tussle, but if you wish, you can put this. Then use the semicolon to join two ideas. When you talk about two different ideas, two variant ideas, then use the semicolon, that is dot and comma. Then use the simple present tense for habitual actions. Now we're getting into the problem area, aren't we? Now, what do you mean by the simple present tense? See, to make this simple, I have given this to you here. Okay, what does all this mean? Okay, when I say present simple, what is an example of this? See, it's given here. Okay, so you can keep following this table on the right hand side as I'm reading out the rules. Okay. Then use the simple present tense for habitual actions. That is for everyday actions. Then use the present progressive tense for current action. Now, okay, oh my God, now where is progressive written over here? Progressive doesn't feature in this list at all. So you see, this is what I've given you here. Read this small little footnote. The progressive tense is also called the continuous tense. It describes continuing or ongoing actions. That means actions that are in progress. For example, when you say that, I'm working on my project, or, I'm discussing an idea, with my colleague. Okay, so those are progressive, or I mean, those are what you would call actions in progress. Okay. Then add ed to verbs for past tense. Okay, like when you want to say you walked, to the store, or you walked down the corridor, then walk, the past tense of that is ed. So I mean, you add an ed and you have walked. So this is how in most verbs you have ed as the past tense. Then use the present perfect progressive for an unfinished action and past. Use the past perfect for the first of the two past actions, and use present perfect progressive or present perfect continuous for unfinished action and the past. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, okay, this may be a little difficult. See, now this is available on YouTube, right? So you can always take a look at this, leisurely. All right. Now, okay, see, when we start with the exercises, I wanted to make this interactive. So I do not want you to feel that oh, we are starting with nouns, then we are going to verbs, then we go to adverbs. I mean, we go to adjectives, we go to adverbs. So instead of going through that typical rigmarole that we've studied in school, I thought let me start with a few little arenas of grammar or areas of grammar. With usually when in conversations we make mistakes with. Okay. Now let's look at an exercise first, and then I have a small little footnote about this. Okay, that we'll see on the next slide. Okay, it says replace the underlined words or phrases with suitable words from the list. What does a little, a lot, and a lot of mean? A little means what? Okay, what do you think a little means? Yeah. Okay, let's try and do the sentences. Yes, tell me.
Verb.
Yes, it's a, okay, 1 minute. See, you see how to, replace these underlined words with either a little, a lot, or a lot of, okay? When we were young, mother used to tell us many fairy tales. What would you say? Mother used to tell us a little fairy tales, a lot fairy tales, or
A lot of.
Correct. A
lot of.
Right, you are absolutely right. Even a small quantity of lime juice adds a lot to the taste.
Little quantity.
Even a little quantity, correct. Okay. That means, here you're saying some. All right. Thanks very much for all that you have done for me.
A lot.
Correct. Thanks
A
a
lot.
lot for all that you've done for me. Right, you are. There was hardly anything that I could do to change the situation.
A little.
A little.
No, it is only little. Okay. See, when you say little and a little, no, little, remember, is used in a negative situation. When I say there was little that I could do to change the situation, that means there was hardly anything I could do to change the situation. Okay. This is the problem with English. No, we are not sure, what it actually means. Okay. To understand this, see, there's one slide I found now. See, it says now few and little are used in negative situations. Okay. So again, another thing is few you will use with countable or plural nouns. Like when I say, there are few cars on the road today. When there's a strike, see, during COVID, we used to have very few cars on the roads. We used to have almost no cars at all, right? Then,
Yes.
when you say a friend, a neighbor of yours has very few friends, that means he has hardly any friends. Okay. Or when you say, I read few books, that means I don't read many books. All right. Whereas little you will use with uncountable singular nouns. Again, it has a negative meaning. When you say little money, okay, I have little money left at the end of the month. See, today is the 20th, the last day of the month, right? And I'll say I have little money. That means I have hardly any money in my purse, okay? Or I have little time left, okay? That means I have hardly any time left. Now, see, your exams are coming. So you'll say I have little time now, and I've got so much to study. All right. Or I have little energy left. See, your mother would probably say this, no? At the end of the day, she says, I have little energy left, to do anything more. So you understood the situations in which we can use these words?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now let's look at another one where we identify the errors in the use of the degrees of comparison given in the following table. Okay. So here we are talking about the class of words. Okay. Like important, then is it importanter?
More important.
More important.
Yeah, it's more important, correct. And most important, right. Next one, genuine.
Genuine.
No. Anything else?
More genuine.
More genuine, correct.
Most
And
genuine.
correct,
Genuine.
most genuine, right you are. Then short,
Shorter.
correct.
Shortest.
And right you are, absolutely right. Smart,
Smarter. Smartest.
correct, absolutely right. Okay, now let's look at a few adjectives. You form adjectives of the words within brackets by using the suffixes d, ive, ful, ed, or ing. Now, okay, basically, what are adjectives? See, adjectives we all know they describe the noun, correct? Yes or no? All right, when I say, she's
Yes.
wearing a beautiful frock. So, what, we are describing the frock, correct? We are saying it's a beautiful frock, okay, or it's a pretty dress you're wearing. So, what kind of dress? Pretty dress, okay? Now, let's see these adjectives. And how do you make an adjective? Okay, usually when you add this suffix, either d, ive, ful, ed, or ing. Now, let's see in all these situations how to use them. Okay, the dash or excite children were queuing up to buy tickets for the movie The Lion King.
Exciting.
Excited.
Exciting children?
Excited.
Excited, correct. See, exciting, you will say for the movie. Okay, the movie was exciting. All right, but there it would be an adverb because you were saying how the movie was. All right, the movie was exciting. But you will say the excited children were queuing up to buy tickets for the movie The Lion King. So they were all excited, no? So they were all, rushing to the counter, to go and buy tickets. Okay, the T20 final proved to be a dash match.
Thrilling.
Thrilling, correct. Right, thrilling, right you are. The patient was not dash.
Responsive.
Respond.
Yeah, responsive, okay. All right, the patient was not responsive. That means the patient is not responding to treatment, okay. Then our project was
Fruitful.
fruitful, right you are. Correct, okay. Then Ranjit did not score any runs. With a dash look, he walked back to the stadium.
Disappointed.
Correct.
Disappointed.
Disappointed look, right here. Okay, with a disappointed look, that means he felt sad, no? Isn't it that he was not able to score any runs in this match? Okay. Now see, what is an adverb? Adverbs are a part of speech that provide more information about the verb, the adjective, or another adverb. Okay. So you see, many a times you find, one clue I would give you, or one hint I would give you is that, adverbs mostly end with ly. So you see, you have your elegantly, happily. You see, this girl is elegantly dressed, isn't it? Then, they are happily, walking hand in hand, right? Or they see the jumping actually, right? Happily here. All right. This bird has been held gently on the palm. Okay. Then, probably this girl wants to, she hungrily looked at the food on the table. This boy was lazily, lolling on the sofa, right? Now this girl is speaking loudly. Now see here, this boy has a sad look, so he is looking very sadly in front of him. This is, scarily, comfortably, accidentally. Now see, yeah, it's not accidentally, it says accidentally. Mind your spelling. Fondly, and she fondly hugged her bear, this girl. And this one is smartly dressed. Isn't it? Okay, now underline the adverbs in the following exercise. The winds are very strong.
Strong.
Correct. The soldiers fought against the enemy valiantly.
Valiantly.
Correct. Now you saw the very first one. Okay, the winds are very strong. Though I told you, you see most examples here, all the examples here had ly. But you see, we didn't say the winds are very strongly, no? The winds are very strong.
Yes.
Okay, it's telling you how the winds are. Okay, understood. Then the baby slept soundly.
Soundly.
Yeah, soundly means what? See, interestingly, see in English, when we talk about sound, okay, we are talking about noise, isn't it? And here we are saying the baby slept soundly. That means the baby slept, very peacefully. Okay, without, it went into deep sleep. So here the word sound has nothing to do with noise. Okay, soundly, in fact, means the opposite. It means, very calmly and quiet, peaceably, in deep sleep. Okay. The daughter seldom visits her parents.
Seldom.
Correct. Seldom, because it means rarely, no?
Yes,
Ambition
ma'am.
urges us forward.
Urges.
Urges is the verb, no? Urges means what it, encourages us to move forward. When we are ambitious, we would like to move forward in life, no?
Forward.
Forward.
Forward, correct. It is forward. Then my aunt comes to visit us often. Pardon?
Often.
Often, right. Aunt is the noun. Okay, aunt is the common noun. Aunt is who your masi or your chachi, your is your bua would be your aunt. No, she comes to visit us when often. Okay, how often? I mean, she comes very often. Many times she visits you. Okay, then I could hardly recognize my neighbor's son.
Hardly.
Right. That means you could not you recognize him at all. All right, now maybe you're seeing him after many years. He was studying in a hostel, for some course doing engineering away from the city. And when he comes back after many years, you'll say, I could hardly recognize my neighbor's son. Okay. So basically, what is it that adverbs try to answer? See, when something happened, to what extent it happened, where it took place, then in what manner did it happen, and how did it take place? Okay, so usually it answers these questions. Okay, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let's look at the next one. See, we have, word associations or, what we call collocations in grammar. Okay, art students, those who have done FIBA communication skills in English, you all will be able to connect with this. Okay, we say, for example, now what are word associations? We say do your homework and we don't say make your homework, right? Similarly, we say take a look or have a look. Like, for example, you say take a look at this new sari, okay, or have a look. But you don't say make a look or get a look. Words often form combinations or associations like these. In grammar, we call them collocations. The following list shows some common verbs and the words that are used with them. Now choose the correct columns to make combinations of words that we normally use. For example, now see, this verb take can apply to many of these. Okay, like for example, see, you take a trip, you take a break, you take a bath, but you take the dishes, you take the dishes, but usually you would say wash the dishes, right? Okay, but yeah, we do say you take the dishes from the kitchen to the sink, you carry them, right? You take a walk or you take lunch. Okay, next, make a trip. Yeah, you make a break. Do we say make a trip or make a break?
Make a trip.
Is that correct?
Make a lunch.
You make lunch. Okay, you don't make a lunch. Alright, yeah, you make lunch, correct.
Take a walk.
Yeah, you take a walk, correct, right? You take a walk. You can even take a break. All right. When you're tired of studying for a long time, you take a break, and decide to look up your WhatsApp messages, isn't it? So you take a break.
Miss, take the dish.
Take the dishes. Usually you would say carry the dishes, more than take the dishes. Okay. Then make के लिए कौन सा apply होगा? Make a bath, make the dishes,
Lunch.
make a walk, or make lunch.
Make a lunch.
The word who told me make lunch was correct. Yeah.
Make a trip.
Yes, you make a trip, right? You are. Okay. You make a trip to your native place, or you make a trip to a new tourist place. You go make a trip to Kashmir or to Manali, then you say you make a trip. No? Then do what? Do a trip, you do a break, you do a bath, you do the dishes, you do a walk, or you do lunch.
Make a break.
No, look at the verb do. Apply the verb do.
Do the dishes.
Yes. Do you know what's the meaning of doing the dishes? It's washing up. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Also, in American English nowadays say we'll do a trip. Okay, you will tell a school friend of yours, no, we must do a trip together. Isn't it?
Yes,
That means
ma'am.
you're planning a trip, right?
Do a walk.
Yeah, let's do a walk. Yes, correct. Let's do a walk. Okay. It also, when you say let's do lunch, it also means let's take a break and have lunch together. Okay.
Yes,
So we
ma'am.
don't use it very often in India. All right. Next, have what? Have a trip, have a break, have a bath. Sorry. Have the dishes, have a walk, or have lunch?
Have a break.
Okay, you have a break, right?
Have a walk.
Have a lunch.
Have lunch.
Correct. And you have lunch. Correct. Right, Yala. Absolutely right. Unmute yourselves and talk, huh? Correct. If you're going to type in the chat box, I won't be able to see it. Okay. Now see verbs. Okay, verbs are what we call action words, no? Isn't it? See,
Yes,
the
ma'am.
definition is given. A verb is a word that shows action. See, your several, action words. You can see people, actually doing the action, isn't it? Okay. Now, when you talk about verbs, you usually use them in these combinations. Okay. Like for example, I am working. Okay. Or you are my neighbor, or you are singing. Okay. He is working. Like, let's take the same verb. She is working. And you used to talk about your clock or something, right? It is now working. Or you would say, we are working on a project. They are working on a project, isn't it? So this is how we use, okay, the subject is in this manner, all right? These would usually be the subjects. Understood?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
what are the things that verbs express? Okay, they express physical actions, okay, where actually you can see the person doing the action, like for example, jumping, okay, to jump. You also do mental actions like to think, okay, or to solve a puzzle. Okay, when you're solving a puzzle, you're solving a crossword, or you're doing a Sudoku. That's a mental action, isn't it? You're going to write the answer
Yes.
later on, correct? But you're working it out in your mind, right? So that's a mental action. Then there are states of being, like, what you feel. Like, for example, I'm cold. That means I'm feeling cold. All right. Now let's look at some verbs, in the light of what has been given, in these various pictures here. Arnav, run or runs a mile every day?
Runs.
Runs.
Run. Correct. Penny is or are my neighbor?
Is.
Penny is my neighbor. Correct. Now, Penny is the name of the girl, okay? It's a girl's name. Ashutosh wants to join the police force when he grows up.
Wants to join. Grows
Huh?
up.
Correct.
Grows up.
Both will have an S, isn't it? Both the
Yes,
verbs will
ma'am.
have.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you seen or seen my wallet?
Seen.
Seen.
Correct. There's an N there. Okay. Have you seen my wallet? Then Jews dash the synagogue to dash.
Visit to pray.
Correct. Jews visit the synagogue to pray.
To-
Synagogue is their place of worship. Okay. It's called a synagogue. It's pronounced as synagogue. Okay. Synagogue. Now, I dash a letter from my sister yesterday.
Had.
Correct.
Had.
Had. See, the yesterday indicates whether it will be have or had. Okay. Now, have by itself, doesn't sound correct. Like, for example, you could say, I have got a letter from my sister. All right. If you didn't want to, if there was no yesterday there, you could say, I have got a letter from my sister. But the word yesterday indicates, and there's no got here in this verb. So then you will say it's an auxiliary, no? It's an auxiliary verb here. So I have, or I had a letter from my sister yesterday because it was yesterday. I had a letter. That means I received a letter from her yesterday. Understood the meaning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, all right. Now let's look at the next one. See, let's look at some verbs here. Let's look at this. It says write S for a sentence and F for a fragment. Fragment is what, when you have a small phrase or a disjointed part of a sentence, okay, which, a term which is not complete, okay, you would call that a fragment. Fragment means it's a small part of or a small piece taken out from something, all right? Now, see, what does the sentence they say in the blue box? A sentence is a complete thought with a subject and a verb. For example, Josh brushes his teeth. Okay. Now, all right, you tell me now. Played tennis. F or S?
F.
S.
F, correct? Because it doesn't say who played tennis, no? Isn't it? For example, where will you find this played tennis? For example, if you maintain a diary, okay, you would write this. Okay, I played, instead of saying I played tennis, because after all, the diary is about yourself, isn't it? So you would usually, use terms like this. Played tennis, went for a walk today. Okay? Did not feel like waking up in the morning. You don't keep saying I all the way. Understood? Next one, mom and dad played tennis.
S.
Correct.
SS.
Okay, correct. Walk the dog.
F.
F.
Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, walk the dog. But see, that can also be a command, no? Walk the dog. You're telling somebody take the dog for a walk, isn't it?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
it is S, all right? And Mary walks the dog every day.
S.
Correct.
S.
Brad's
Yes.
friend Bob is here.
S.
S, correct. It's a complete sentence, isn't it? Then Brad's friend Bob.
F.
Correct.
F.
Right. Decorated tree.
F.
Yes. Let's decorate the tree.
S.
Right.
S.
Cushions on the couch.
S.
S.
Is it
F.
S? Cushions on the couch. Number 9.
F.
What does it mean, cushions on the couch?
F.
I don't know what's happening to the cushions on the couch. What do I want to say about the cushions on the couch? The idea is incomplete, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it? So then it is F, okay? It's a fragment. The last one, the cushions on the couch are soft. Okay, then
S.
that would be
S.
S. All right. Now this is also pronounced as couch in some cultures. All right. The cushions on the couch. All right. Next one.
Yes, ma'am.
Choose appropriate verbs from the brackets to complete the sentences. Shrieked, wailed, raged, trampled, and prevented. Okay. Now, shrieked means what? When you suddenly, you see something and you get scared. Like, for example, if I see a lizard, I enter a room, and I find a lizard on the wall, you see, I'm going to shriek. That sudden cry that I give, when I do this, that would be a shriek. Okay. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
wailed means what? You give a long cry. All right. Raged means, you keep feeling furious, you keep feeling angry. Trampled is, when something heavily steps on you. And prevented means when something is not allowed from being not allowed to happen. Okay. All right. Now let's look at these. He was dashed to death by a wild elephant.
Trampled.
Trampled.
Correct. The child dashed at the sight of the tiger.
Wailed.
Shrieked.
Raged.
Yeah.
Shrieked.
Wailed or shrieked?
Wailed.
See, shrieked is usually when it suddenly happens. Yeah, so it is shrieked. Okay. The child sees the tiger, and it shrieks. All right. It doesn't expect to see the tiger, no? Now, Arun's mother dashed when she saw his broken arm.
Wailed.
Wailed, correct. Usually, women are known to wail, or they wail over the fact, that something, bad has happened. Like destiny has done something, some harm to them. That is when you use the term wailed. Okay. He dashed against the injustice done to him.
Raged.
Raged.
Correct. He kept feeling furious, no? जो अन्याय हुआ है अपने तरह, towards us, then you feel, rage. Okay, so he raged against it. Why? Because you're a little helpless, isn't it? You can't do anything to change it. Okay, the fifth one, Joseph's quick thinking has dashed many a disaster.
Prevented.
Prevented. Correct. That means Joseph is very quick, in coming out with solutions. Okay, and he prevents disasters or accidents from happening. Understood the meanings?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, all right. Now, see, instead of an exercise here, first let's try and find out what is a comma. See, sometimes we are not very sure how to use a comma. All right. Now, see, a comma is used to separate items in a list and to point out brief pauses within sentences. For example, Rupert brought party hats, balloons, and cold drinks for us all. While Reena decorated the house, Ruhi put up the balloons and set the table. So you see, you're talking about different actions over here. When you're talking about Rupert buying, here is a list, as it were, of the various things that he got for everyone. Okay. Now see, now read these sentences. I've reached the village post office, Tom. Now this is what, you will tell Tom. Okay. Somebody is telling. Now, if I, have told Tom, okay, I'm entering his village, and, I would say, sorry. So, you would tell him, okay, now I've reached the village post office, Tom. Now, suppose I'm supposed to meet Tom, okay? So I'll say, I've reached the village post office, Tom. Where are you? Okay, are you also there? I mean, I can't see you anywhere. All right. Then, Richa, please give me the geography book. So you see, when there's a small pause, no, Richa, please, we don't say, Richa, please give me the geography book. We don't say it in one at a stretch, isn't it? So that is when we put a comma. So you understand how to insert commas and where they should be inserted?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now here we find that a comma is also used to separate the name of a person to whom the sentence is addressed from the rest of it. When the name comes at the end of a sentence, we place the comma before it. Like you see here in the case of Tom, no? When the name comes at the beginning of a sentence, we place a comma after it. See, in the case of the second one, Richa. All right. Now complete these sentences by placing commas, full stops, and question marks in the appropriate places. Now you tell me this. Students from Punjab, Gujarat, Kerala, and Bihar are participating in the match.
Punjab, comma, Gujarat, comma.
Gujarat, comma, Kerala, comma.
See,
That's
you
it.
said Kerala, comma. Now Kerala,
No.
comma would be that serial comma. Remember? In the rules
Yes,
for
ma'am.
grammar, no, it
Yes,
spoke
ma'am.
about serial comma, na? Isn't it? But usually you see after Kerala, when you're saying and, we usually in India don't put a comma. But as I told you
Yes.
now, it is accepted. All right. Okay, are participating in the match. After that, what punctuation will come?
Full stop.
Correct. Then Praveen, call a taxi while I lock up the house.
Taxi,
I will call a taxi, comma.
comma.
Tell me again.
Taxi, Praveen call a taxi, comma.
Praveen, call a taxi. See, isn't this structure like this? Richa, please give me the geography book.
Praveen, comma.
Yes, Praveen, comma, call a taxi while I lock up the house. So, here there is one thought, calling a taxi. All right, you're telling Praveen to do one thing while simultaneously you are locking up the house. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
This is
Okay,
like, this says Richa wala sentence. Okay. Praveen, comma, call a taxi while I lock up the house. And then after that, what will come? Question mark, exclamation, full stop, what will come?
full stop, house.
Yes, after house. After house, you will put a full stop. Okay. Then will you carry the cases down to the taxi, please?
Taxi, comma, please.
After please?
Exclamation
Question
mark.
mark.
Correct. Absolutely right. Now, why will you put a comma after taxi? Because, the idea is over. All right. You want the person to carry. Now, what do you mean by cases? Cases here doesn't mean court cases. Remember, we're talking about suitcases. All right. So will you carry the suitcase? What do you want to say? Suitcases down to the taxi, please. So you see, you want to make it a request rather than a command. So you put the please when you put that at the end of the sentence, you'll put a comma before that and followed by a question mark.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see. Now look, my God, so many things are there, right? We don't usually tend to think, that we can use a comma in this way. There'll be so many rules, or a comma is used in so many ways or for so many different purposes. See, what are the rules? First is to separate a series of words. Like you see, you all told me, right, about Punjab, Kerala, all that, correct? Similarly, all right, see, look at these sentences. See, listen, and be silent, and you will live in peace. Now see, here you saw here they've used this serial comma here. Can you see this after silent? Why? Because after and there isn't only one word. Here there is a full idea. Okay, that is why. Do you want some cakes, comma, candies or ice cream? Question mark. Then to connect two independent clauses. It's an old car, but it's very reliable. Just like remember in the previous sentence, we spoke about that a person saying, no, that you fetch the taxi while I lock up the house. Isn't it? They're two different thoughts.
Yes, ma'am.
1 minute. I'll just have a little sip of water. Okay. You can hear me, no? All right. Now see here.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
was feeling hungry, so I made myself a sandwich. Now see, this is a unique way of saying that you make a sandwich for yourself. Okay, that means you prepare the sandwich. So that's called making myself a sandwich. Okay, I made myself a sandwich. Then to set off introductory words, phrases, or clauses. Yes, I'll be there. Just like that Richa wala sentence, isn't it? Richa, please give me the geography book. Okay, thanks for reminding me. And having finally arrived in town, comma, we went shopping. That means after arriving in the town, what did we do? We went shopping. Then to separate parenthetical elements. What are parenthetical elements? Things which could be put in brackets. All right, we precede it, that means, and follow it up with a comma. Okay, so that is, kind of a sub idea or a sub thought, for it. Let's look at the sentence. What do I mean by this? Football, which is a popular sport, is very good for health. Sorry. That means, see, what is the actual idea? Football is very good for health. Okay, you are interjecting. That means you are inserting another idea there, a sub point, by saying that football, which is a popular sport, is very good for health. Otherwise, you see, you could have made two sentences with this. Football is very good for health. Football is a popular sport. So you see, when you want to join those two sentences and convey them in the same one, then you use, with the help of commas, you convey both the ideas together. Understood the meaning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Or you want me to repeat?
No, ma'am.
Yeah.
Understood, ma'am.
No,
All
ma'am.
right.
Understood.
Thank you. Okay. Understood now? All right. Now see, my grandmother, old and sick, never goes out of the house. Or you could even say, yeah, my grandmother, comma, who is old and sick, never goes out of the house. Okay. So the actual sentence would read, my grandmother never goes out of the house. She is old and sick. Understood how to separate this? Then
Yes,
to
ma'am.
separate coordinate adjectives. Followers feel energetic, confident, and happy. Sorry. So you see there are different adjectives here. These are called the coordinating adjectives. You are separating them with the help of a comma. He is a competent, efficient worker. So you see, when you're using more than one adjective, okay, for the same person or for the same incident, then you separate it with a comma. 1 minute, I need to have another sip of water. Just a minute. I'll just. Now let's look at the next one. To separate a series of phrases. I like reading books, listening to music, watching TV, and studying English. So you see different ideas. Okay, reading books is one activity, listening to music. So you see, listening is a different activity, reading is a different activity, watching is a different activity, and studying English. So, to separate these ideas or these phrases, you will put a comma in between. Okay. Then to set off phrases to express contrast, money is a good servant, but a bad master. So you see, money is a good servant. That means, you should control money well, isn't it? You don't become a slave of money. Okay. That means you should not be running after money. Money should not be the aim of life. Okay. Next, the golden age is before us, not behind us. That means, we have an age or we have times to look forward to. We can make, the life ahead of us, like a golden period of our lives. Okay, so you don't have to, keep praising the past. Though, of course, it has its, validity also. But, if the golden age was in the past, we can also say that the golden age is before us. We can create another golden age, isn't it? So it is not just the past, which is praiseworthy, but it is also something which is ahead of us, which we can make golden. Okay. Then to avoid confusion, for most, the year is already finished. Now, for most means what? for most part of the year, you could say for most things to happen, the year is already finished. Okay. Then otherwise, or you could also say for most people, all right, the year is already finished. Now see, you would say that for your academic year, isn't it? Now see, SY and TY students would say this, no? For most, the year is already finished. They finished their learning, isn't it? Now teaching is over. They are only waiting for their exams to get over, correct? I saw that she was busy and prepared to leave. Okay, so, seeing that she was busy. Now if I, say I go to, talk to my mother, okay? And I find she's busy, so I prepared to leave. That means, I decide, okay, I'll go away without saying anything to her. Understood the meaning?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Then, in drama or in conversation, okay, we use commas to separate the quoted parts. That is, for example, I don't think you should do that, he said. All right. So I don't think you should do that. It's a suggestion the person is making. And who made that suggestion? So, before you close the inverted commas, you put a comma and you say, he said, full stop. Then he asked, comma, do you want to go with me? So asked is one thing, and what is he asking? So to separate the two, you put a comma. Then to set off expressions that interrupt the sentence flow, this, after all, is a company which is awash with cash. Okay, what's the meaning of this? This, after all, is a company which is awash with cash. That means, after all, all said and done, ye company to maldar hai. Okay, when you say awash with cash, that means they have a lot of cash. It's a very wealthy company. It's a company which is doing very, very well. Okay. On the other hand, comma, many women choose to go out to work. So, when you're contrasting two ideas and saying, that on the other hand, many women choose to go out to work. Though, you may have many homemakers, women who choose, to make, to be homemakers as their profession. Okay, they want to be homemakers. On the other hand, many women choose to go out to work. So they want to go out of the house. They don't want to just sit at home, and earn money. Okay. Then to separate dates, years, and addresses, I was born in August. It should be on, no? I was born on August 26th, 2001. The White House is located at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, near NW, Washington, Washington, DC, 20500. Okay. So I would say actually, 1600 ke baad bhi comma hona chahiye. All right. At 1600 Pencil, or 1600 is the plot number or the house number at Pennsylvania Avenue. And NW must be their suburb. Okay. Washington is the city. DC means District of Columbia. Okay. And this is their PIN code or zip code as they call it in the US. Then to separate a statement from a tag question, like see, in question tag, we have put commas, isn't it? Let's take the next bus, shall we? We have never seen that, have we? So, before adding the question tag, you separate the statement from the question tag with a comma. Understood, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Okay. Now, how do we use apostrophes? Now, see, we use apostrophe with, now see, this is how you write an apostrophe with S to show possession. Now, see, we use apostrophe. Now, look at this small little box here. To talk about omission, that means something that's missing. Possession, that means something that belongs to someone. And exception, that is, when you talk about something that's different. Now, let's look at all these three. Okay. Let's look at examples of all these. For example, I can see a bird's nest in the tree. Or the bird's cries filled the sky. When you talk about one bird, bird apostrophe S. When you talk about several birds, the bird's cries filled the sky. So there the apostrophe will be after S. In the first sentence, a bird apostrophe S shows that the nest belongs to one bird. In the second sentence, bird's apostrophe suggests that there is more than one bird. The apostrophe also indicates missing letters when words are contracted. That is what you mean by this first one, no omission. Okay. Like when you say the air is like wine. So what you want to say is, it's a contraction of the air is like wine. Or I have a balm for bruised hearts. Here I is a contraction of I have. Okay. Or when you say I'm late, that means you want to say I am late, isn't it? So I am is a contraction of I am. All All right. The apostrophe is also used to indicate exceptions. For example, the pupils were taught bhajans by the music teacher. Here, bhajans is a non-English word, and so that's why you're putting it in, single inverted commas as we call it, or we use apostrophes to indicate that this word is different from the regular, or it doesn't belong to that language. Okay. The man got off the train and hailed a coolie. Now, coolie again is a non-English word. Though it has been accepted now in English, coolie actually is a Hindi word. Okay. Now, let's see how hyphens are used. What is the definition? A hyphen is a punctuation mark that is used to join words or parts of words. Okay. Now, let's see how do we use hyphens here. Which of the following words should have hyphens? 10 years old, a 20-year-old student, 2/3 of a liter, 15 seconds, a 15-second dash, well-known singer, and half full. Is it A, B, C, D, E, F, or G?
B.
Yes. Where will it come?
After 20.
Yes. Okay. Won't it also come before old? Are you saying a 20-year-old student? A 20-year-old. Okay, when I say, I teach 17-year-olds. Okay. A 20-year-old student. 20-year-old would be the hyphenated term. 20-year-old. Okay, which is? Anna, understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Otherwise, what does it mean? 20-year-old student, Buddha student. It can't be a Buddha student, no? Understood the meaning?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
which
can
other?
it also come between well-known?
Yes, right, you are. Well-known singer. She's a well-known singer. Because it can't stand by itself, no? You can't say she's a well singer, though of course we say she's a known singer nowadays, but she's a well-known singer. That means she's a popular singer, no? Okay, which other sentence? Or rather, which other phrase there?
2/3 of a liter.
Correct. So where will it come?
Between 2 and thirds.
Correct. Absolutely right. When you talk about 2 parts of 3, then it's 2/3. So 2/3, 2-thirds, 2/3 of a liter. Then where else?
Half full.
Okay, it's half full, right? Half dash full. All right, because half and full are oxymorons, no? They are opposites of each other, isn't it? So when you say the glass is half full, so there, and where else? That's all?
Two-third, 6. Sorry,
Yeah, 2/3
6.
is over.
A
It is
15-second dash.
correct, a 15-second dash. That means the dash, what do you mean? By dash, you don't mean the hyphen. Here, a 15-second dash means a 15-second run. All right. When you say, I dashed down to the, store, to fetch cigarettes for my father. All right. So dashing down means, going, rushing down. All right. So when you say this is only a 15-second dash, all right, that means it's a quick run. You're asking students to participate in a run and you're telling them, oh, this is only a 15-second dash. All right. That means it lasts only 15 seconds. Zyada daudna bhi nahi hai. Understood the meaning? So how many seconds? 15 seconds. Consists of how many? 15 seconds. But because you're talking about a dash, you're describing the dash or the, the act of running. That is not plural. That is why we don't say 15 seconds dash. Okay, it is a 15-second dash. All right, 15-second. Understood? Can I go on to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any doubts?
Yes. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
If you have any doubts, you stop, okay, and you interrupt me and ask me, okay? Feel free to do so. All right. Now, homophones and homonyms. Now, what are homophones and what are homonyms?
Same pronunciation, different spelling.
Yes, is homophone, right? And homonym means it's the same word, but it has different meanings. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now see, a level or a floor in a tall building is which one? The first one or the second one? Story is, the pronunciation is story only.
First word.
See what's happening now, no? In American English, we tend to say story. But otherwise, you see, story means it's a tale or a kahani, as you call it, isn't it? But when you talk about a 5-floor building or a 5-storied building, then it is storeyed. Okay, so when you talk about stories, it is storey. Okay, it is actually storey. Understood me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, any doubts?
No, ma'am.
All right. In, at, or to that place or position, there or there.
Second one, there.
Second one, correct. It's pronounced as there. See, there's a difference between there, and see this one here, there. Okay, this is a contraction. All right. See the small blue picture here. Then okay, next one, the part at the rear of an animal that sticks out and can be moved.
Tail, the second one.
Correct. The second one, right? You are TAIL. All right. Now this is an instance of the homophone, isn't it? Because the pronunciation is the same, but the spellings are different. Okay. Next one, a body's relative mass.
First
First one, correct. WEIGHT.
W.
Then unnecessary use of anything.
First one.
Correct. First one, waste. WASTE. Right. Now make sentences using the following pairs of homophones and bring out their meaning clearly. What's the meaning of FAIR and what's the meaning of FARE?
Ma'am, fair is the skin tone, like the person is fair, and
Correct.
fair is also the amount, like what is the final amount, basically.
Yes, correct. Okay, you talk about the train fare, no? Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
The train fare or the bus fare, right? You are okay. You will say, for instance, the bus fare has increased. Okay, or she is fair in color. Now, fair as a noun also, can mean, see, when you go to a fair, okay, आप मेले में जाते हो, so then that is also fair, isn't it? जब मेला लगता है ना गांव में, so that is also called fair. FAIR. All right.
Yes.
Now, fare, FARE, can also be used as a verb, when you say, how did you fare in the exam? Okay, that means whether you did well or not. All right, your teacher may ask you, at the end of, say, the economics paper, your economics teacher meets you in the corridor and the teacher will ask you, how did you fare in today's paper? Isn't it? That means, how did you perform? Okay, understood the meanings?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's look at the next one, heel. Now these are instances of homophones.
Yes, ma'am.
Sandal heel. Second one is heal means recover.
Correct, absolutely. Okay, when you cure yourself of something, when you heal from, you heal yourself. Okay, you will say my wound did not heal very easily. Okay, or the heel of my shoe, is it's pointed. Okay. The next one.
One, ma'am, one is the number and one is that he had achieved something.
Yes, correct. All right. One is the numeral, isn't it? The very first number is ONE. And when you won something, that means you've been victorious, or as you rightly said, you achieved in something. Okay. The next one, blue.
Color.
Blue is the color. and
Yes.
blue is something that hits us somewhere. Like his words blew my mind, blew out my
Yeah.
mind.
Okay, right. Or blue can also mean, like when you blow balloons, no, you blow bubbles. Okay,
Yes,
so you blow
blowing.
bubbles in
Blow,
the air,
blow. Yes, ma'am.
right? Or you can say, that when something blows out. All right. The candle blew out, isn't it? Because of this gust of wind, the candle blew out. All right. That means the candle got, extinguished. Understood? BLEW, it is. Understood the
Ma'am,
meaning?
BLUE even means sad sound, na somewhere.
Give me an example of it.
Monday
Blues, like
blues.
blues we say na, like BLUES.
Ah, yes. Yeah, yeah. Correct. Yes, yes. Okay. I'm feeling blue or I'm feeling the blues. Right, you are. When you're feeling
Yeah.
sad, when you're feeling depressed. Correct. I thought you're saying BLEW. You're right. Okay. Now, one second. Okay. Now let's understand the meanings of the following word pair. Back, one meaning is the rear part of our body, isn't it? The other is when you back somebody, that means to give support to someone or something. All right. You may back somebody's plan. You may back somebody's idea. You may even back them by giving support, no financial support, isn't it? I think that Shark Tank does that, doesn't it? They support them. They back them with finance, don't they? Have you all watched Shark Tank? The
Yes,
program
ma'am.
Shark
Yes,
Tank?
ma'am.
So there they back them, isn't it? They give support, no?
Yeah, they invest in these startups, new startups.
Yes,
So give them a
exactly.
backbone at their time to
Correct.
support.
Right. Absolutely right. Correct. Then bank, a place where you keep your money, or you can talk about a river bank, that is the two sides of the river. Then bank as a verb will mean to depend on someone. Okay, like say I bank on my sister, for everything. All right, that means if some even at the smallest help I need, for the smallest help I rush to her. Okay, so you can say I bank on my sister for everything. All right, so bank is a noun and bank is a verb. Okay, the meanings are it. Then knock, knock as a noun and knock as a verb. Knock is a noise made on the door by someone, and knock means to drop something. Okay, or you can even hit against somebody. Okay, for example, I knocked into her, as I was rushing to board the train. Okay, I knocked, a pile of books. Okay, that my friend was, that a person was carrying. All right, understood? Hello,
Yes,
follow
ma'am.
the meaning? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, any doubts? Any questions?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am.
All right. Then gull as a noun and gull as a verb. Gull as a noun is a seafaring bird. You can see those white birds, no, near the sea or near a water body. Those are gulls or seagulls as they are. We also call them seagulls. Then gull is to as a verb means to cheat. Okay, when you say, I was gulled, by the shopkeeper today. Okay, and I bought something substandard. No, when you buy something substandard, you'll say I was gulled by the shopkeeper, isn't it? Got the meaning? Can I go on to
Yes.
the next slide? Okay. Now, see, I want to give you a writing exercise. Okay. Imagine today is Monday. Write 5 sentences on what you had done by 8 a.m. this morning. By 8 a.m. Okay. Do you all want to write it and read it out to me? I'll give you 5 minutes for this. Shall I? Yeah, can we do
Yes,
this small
ma'am.
exercise? Pardon?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the sound is not available, Anup, because I'm not saying anything. I gave you an exercise to do. Okay. I want the sound coming from you now. What's the matter? As soon as I gave an small little exercise, people started leaving the meeting. Yeah, I can see it says several people are leaving the meeting. Why? Are you all ready?
Ma'am, 2 minutes.
Okay. All right, Bhavya. The others also please attempt it. When you all are done, can you all tell me?
One minute, ma'am.
All right.
Ma'am, done.
Okay. Bhavya, want to start reading? In the meanwhile, so whoever wants to finish, they can do so. You want to read? Yes, unmute
Yes,
yourself.
ma'am. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'll go off camera. Start.
Yes, ma'am. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. this morning. After waking up, the first task done by me was to get freshen up and do some exercise. After that, I had my heavy breakfast and straight away I started attending my daily lectures via laptop. After the lecture, I continued reading my ongoing book which I was reading, and at 1:30 I had my lunch, and after lunch I took power nap for 1 hour, and after waking up I immediately started studying, and that's it. Now I'm in present situation and I'm attending this reweighting session.
Is that correct? What do the
Yes,
others
ma'am.
see?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What Bhavya read, was that correct? What was your question?
From 8 a.m. what I did actually.
Yes. You understood? So what you had
Yes,
done by
ma'am.
8 a.m. Okay. So you only had to fine tune what you had to say. The first 3 sentences were correct. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, does anyone else want to read? Yes? Yeah,
Yes,
come
ma'am.
forward and do so. Yeah, please do. Yes, Yogi. Yogi Wankhede. Did you say something? Yeah. You
Is
take
that
up one. Yes, start. You want to read?
Miss? Is that okay if I send a message on chat?
You want to put it in the chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do so because we are running out of time. Huh? Okay, I'll go off camera. Bye. Okay, in the meanwhile, I'll go on to the next. I'm almost come to the end now. Okay, that's it. Finished. These were my references. And well, thank you. I hope you had a good time. Till Yogi posts it on the, she's posted something. Okay. I attended a lecture at 8:05 of FC, then I had a break. See, you were asked to write what you did till 8 a.m. Okay. So you'll have to say what you did before 8 a.m. Okay, Yogi?
I thought after 8 a.m.
No. See, read the question 1 minute. I'll go back to the slide. See, what you had done by 8 a.m. By 8 a.m. means before 8 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, understood what happened. But anyway, I'm glad you attempted this. Okay. So you can always say you attended the lecture, FC lecture at 7:15, isn't it? Okay.
Ma'am, thus we lack observation skills. Now we can
Yes,
say.
yes. You know, we see, but we don't observe, no? Attended a lecture and I went in other colleges with my team members to invite them for an event which is going to be held in our college on 10th of March. Okay, that's a quiz competition. All right. But you'll have to talk more about what you did in the morning. Like, for example, doing some exercise or, going for a walk. All right. Or even doing chores like, fetching milk and bread for your mother. Isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
For example,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
could say my first lecture was free. Okay, I didn't have the first lecture. Today we had online lectures. My first lecture was free. So this is what I did till 8 in the morning. Understood? Okay. Yes, Anup, I think the NSS volunteer team will send you a feedback form. Okay. So just hang on, be patient. Okay, I'm done now. Shall I close my presentation? So,
Yes,
do
ma'am.
you all have any questions?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, sure. Everyone understood everything? Or you all didn't understand anything? What is it?
Understood, ma'am, everything.
Okay, good. All right. I hope this small little ride, through grammar has helped you all. Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am.
It was understood. Thank you. Thanks for your responses. Okay, yeah, now see, here's your feedback form. You can start filling. Okay, now over to you all NSS volunteers.
As the program ends, our volunteer Leela Suthar will propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Leela.
Leela, you are on mute.
You have to unmute yourself.
You are-
Yeah.
Thank you. I, Leela Suthar, we request everyone to submit their feedback form to avail their certificate. I, Leela Suthar, on behalf of NSS Cell, University of Mumbai, NSS Unit B28 and Department of English of Nagindas Khandwala College of Commerce, Art and Management Studies Autonomous. Consider it my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this webinar. We are extremely grateful to Associate Professor Mrs. Neeta Dhote for addressing us for this topic. She took valuable time out from her busy schedule to do this for us. I'm sure all the participants must have benefited immensely from today's topic, English grammar. Thank you, ma'am. I'm also grateful to our director, Dr. Mrs. N.C. Josh, our principal professor, Dr. Mosmi Datta, our vice principal and IQ AC coordinator, Dr. Mona Mehta. I would like to also thank area coordinator of Western Suburban District of University of Mumbai and NSS program officer Dr. Vivek J. Chaube and Dr. Vaishali Godeshwar and head of English department Mrs. Neeta Dhote, convener of program Assistant Professor Nankishore Sona for rendering us constant support. I also thank our management, the KES, for giving us the opportunity to organize this event. I extend a big thanks to all our NSS faculty as well as the faculty of English department and student leader for this cooperation. As no program can be success without an audience. I would like to thank all the participants too. We hope you have taken away useful lessons from today's session. Thank you all for making this event such a success with your patience presence. Thank you everyone.
Yes, thanks to you all too.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
And yes, and thanks to the students for responding. Thank you for making it interactive. Otherwise, it's very boring. And grammar can be learned only when you all work with a joint exercise. No, we work together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Welcome. You all have a wonderful evening now. Okay. Can I leave?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, ma'am.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Good night. Take care.
Bye. Manish, Gunjan, can I
Yes,
leave?
sir.
Isha,
Yes.
can I leave
Yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Meeting is over now, no?
Yes. Hello. Hello. Yes, you can leave the meeting.
Okay,
Hello.
okay. Thank you.
Yes, हेलो यस
मैं डे 4 के लिंक के लिए बोला था हमने.
मैंने वहाँ पे मैसेज डाला था कि you will be informed about that later. At the end, we will see how many students are remaining for that. Accordingly, will be done. Okay. Everyone is the one.
Can we leave the meeting?
तनिष कितना देर मीटिंग एंड करूँ?
Khushi, you can leave.
40 को करेंगे. ओके.